You ever notice how the quietest places draw the noisiest problems? I learned that the hard way after 20 years in the Marines and another 5 wrangling snakes in a Texas HOA. I figured I'd finally earned a little silence, you know? Yeah, that's what I thought. 3 years back, I bought this old lake cabin, a rough little spot tucked in pine trees, way up in northern Georgia, just beyond the reach of a freshly minted, over-caffeinated HOA. The land was grandfathered in before all their zoning nonsense. No strings attached, no nosy neighbors, just me, my dog Radar, and a stack of projects to keep my hands busy. I rebuilt the roof, sealed the dock, put in a stone fire pit with a view over the Waterno Wi-Fi. No cameras, no need for them. The only thing digital around was my old radio, and I liked it that way. It was supposed to be peaceful, and for a while it was. Until the morning I opened my mailbox and found one of those envelopes thick, gold embossed like they thought they were the IRS or the Vatican. Lakewood Community HOA. No return address. Just a demand for $600 in back dues, common area maintenance, architectural oversight fees for a place built back when the Beatles were still together. I sat down at the kitchen table, laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee, then called their office. Some lady named Deanna answered, sugary voice. Lakewood HOA. How may I help you? I gave her my name, told her flat out. I'm not a member. Never signed your papers, my land's private. She got real cold, real fast. All homes in the vicinity fall under our guidelines, Mr. Miller. The cabin at 42 Pine Needle Trail was annexed in the most recent map expansion. I couldn't help myself. I actually laughed out loud. Ma'am, I wrote HOA charters for a living. You can't just annex private land. Try it again. I'll be calling the sheriff, and believe me, I have time. 3 days, later nothing. No letters, no calls, and I figured maybe someone with a lick of sense called off the dogs. But then came the email, all faux friendly. From Leonard Vale, HOA president. He had that real estate agent look smile too big, handshake too firm, charm so thick it made your teeth ache. He wanted to discuss the possibility of renting my cabin for an upcoming event. Generous compensation, blah blah. Leave the place exactly as we found it. Right? I answered in one word, no. Of course, that didn't stop them. More emails, more sweet talk, more community benefits, and great exposure. I ignored them. That Friday, I headed to Alabama to see an old Marine buddy who'd run into some health trouble. I locked up the Cabino cameras, just a solid deadbolt, but I did leave a GPS tag tucked inside a beam. Habit. Before I left, I told my son David, just come back stateside if he wanted a weekend out at the lake with his buddies. He had my blessing. He said maybe Saturday, beers and fishing, nothing wild. That Saturday night, David called. His voice was tight, military clipped. Dad, you sure you didn't rent the cabin out? I was halfway through a plate of ribs at Carl's place, but my gut knew something was wrong. Because there's a party in your living room. Place is lit up like Vegas, 15 cars out front, valet parking, a check-in table with name tag string quartet in the corner. He kept his head, though, stayed outside with his 2 Marine friends, watching. Dad, this isn't just a party. These people are in suits. There's a projector. Catered food looks like a business pitch, not a birthday bash. That's when the twist landed. David overheard a guest call another guy Mr. Kelton, Ridgefront Capital. That name sent a chill up my spine. Big money developers who worked with shady HOAs, scooped up lakeside land, flipped it for profit. I told David to keep his head down, record everything. No heroics unless they try to move something out. 90 minutes later, I was back in Georgia, hiking through the pines to avoid the drive, watching my own house lit up like a magazine spread. David met me on the ridge. It's worse than we thought, Dad. We crept in closer, and sure enough, there was Leonard, holding court, showing off blueprints, acting like he owned the place. They were selling my cabin. My damn house. I walked straight up through the crowd. One of the caterers tried to block me. I brushed past. Leonard's face went white. Henry, didn't expect you back so soon. This is my house, I said, voice low. You've got 5 seconds to explain what's going on before I call the sheriff. David stepped beside me, cool as you please. The place went silent, champagne glasses halfway to lips, all eyes on us. Leonard stammered about a community investor appreciation event, future improvements, blah blah. One board member told us there was no harm done. I pointed at the key in the door. Whose copy is that? You picked that lock? Or do the locks change themselves around here? David had already dialed the sheriff. Yes, we need police assistance. Probable trespassing, possible fraud. Suddenly, everyone remembered somewhere else to Beckar's peeled out, folks scattering. The cops arrived, professional and quick. David handed over photos, videos, every digital breadcrumb. Leonard tried to say I'd given verbal consent, couldn't name when or to whom. The deputies didn't arrest anyone that night, but they filed a report and made it clear. Stay away from this property. That night, walking the rooms, I saw the place had been cleaned a little too well. Furniture off-center, one drawer open, a gold-embossed coaster stamped Ridgefront Capital. They'd left their calling card. Neither David nor I slept much. By dawn, he'd already found Ridgefront's confidential redevelopment plans filed with the county covering my zip code. Their investor portal had slideshow photos of my dock, my chairs, my home pitched as their future portfolio. My son, tech-savvy as he is, saved everything screenshots, GPS tags, the works. They weren't just trespassing, they were setting up to sell something they didn't own. And the HOA wasn't on it. By Monday, I had all the evidence in hand and met my lawyer, Roberta's civil litigator, with a bite worse than mine. He took one look at the files, the forged rental documents, the shell companies, and said, "We're going to gut these bastards." He fired off cease and desists, filed claims for trespass, fraud, emotional distress, you name it. Meanwhile, David kept digging, found a fake permit application with a signature almost like mine, caught a neighbor who saw board members fiddling with my lock, a handyman who'd been asked about landscaping for a future transfer. We built our case piece by piece, witness by witness. A week later, the county sheriff taped off my porch. The HOA board started breaking ranks. One caterer turned whistleblower, one board member resigned, another tried to play dumb, but we had them on camera taking cash. And Leonard finally caved, admitted to everything, even the plan to rezone my land and flip it to Ridgefront. The court date was a circus. News vans, angry neighbors, the works. We won the case. The HOA was dissolved. The guilty parties fined or barred from office. Ridgefront ran for the hills. That spring, we threw a real barbaquino flyers. No board, no agenda. Just neighbors, my son, his marine friends, even Robert with his weird little pug. Ribs, bourbon, classic rock, kids skipping Stone's piece the way I'd always wanted. One last twist, Sam, the only honest board member, came by. "You gonna rebuild the porch?" he asked. "Already did," I said. "If anyone tries again, they'll need a backhoe." By sundown, David hung up a carved wooden sign. Miller Lake House entry by invitation only. Trespassers will be prosecuted or grilled, depending on mood. For the first time in ages, I laughed without looking over my shoulder. No more boardrooms, no more plots. Just family, friends, smoke, and quiet the way life's supposed to be. You ever wonder how far you'd go to protect what's yours? Or maybe the real question is, what would you do if war came knocking at your peaceful door? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear your stories about justice, right and wrong, and what home really means to you.